Before Azusa Pacific University, I had had very few interactions with leadership. I had always considered myself too shy to ever be considered a real leader. These thoughts held me back, and I was stuck in this bubble where I never really thought that I would go anywhere with leadership in my life. Before I came to Azusa, I attended Palomar Community College. And during my time there, I always considered college just to be something that I had to do in order to move on in my life. It was never something that I wanted to pursue. It was just the next step. And unfortunately, I viewed schools just as, only wanting my money. They didn't care about me. They cared about what money I was contributing to their school. And so I never tried to take my education or my desire to learn farther than I ever needed to. And so when it came to leadership, I didn't get involved with my school. I didn't pay any attention to the leadership opportunities that were available, and I honestly never even considered it to be a discipline that could be academically studied. Before Azusa, I was really stuck in a rut. I was kind of just in a plateau where I wasn't really developing who I was as a person. I wasn't engaging in activities that were going to help me grow. And so I kind of just saw myself as a good person, and that seemed to be enough at the time. The first leadership course that I took was PRLD 201, which is the Foundations of Leadership course. And this was just kind of like my first experience with leadership, and I was kind of just dipping my toe in the water. And to be honest, the only reason that I signed up to actually take the leadership minor is I kind of just thought it would be cool to have a minor attached to my degree. And I didn't really think anything of it. Like, it wasn't, oh, I need to do leadership kind of thing. But as I took this class, it resulted in this spark where I was so blown away by just the sheer amount of research and theories and implementation of all the knowledge that has come together to form the discipline of leadership. One of the assignments that really impacted me the most was my Generations of Leadership paper, and this is kind of where I got to dig deeper into what leadership is and where it came from. And this actually started the first process of me developing a leadership philosophy. And it was cool because, I got to understand that charismatic leadership is not the only kind of leadership. And so this kind of got to me well, I don't have to be charismatic, so maybe I can be leader. And so I just kept thinking, I can personalize my own leadership. This class also helped me to understand how I was going to begin to develop my own personal style of leadership. And one of the things that struck me the most was the relationship-oriented versus task-oriented leadership. And I definitely was able to identify with the relationship-oriented side of leadership. And this is kind of where it all started for me. I did not take the leadership minor courses in order, so when I took PRLD 303, Career and Life Planning, this course actually applied to a time in my life where I was contemplating what I was going to do with my future and what master's program I was going to apply for. When I took PRLD 303, it was at such a precise moment in my life where I really needed it. I was in the midst of figuring out what I was going to do with the rest of my life, and the concepts of purpose, of calling, and preparation were so key to what I was developing for myself and my future. And so the major assignment that kind of altered my leadership philosophy was the Burnett and Evans Journal based on the book Designing Your Life by William Burnett and David Evans. And this book was just so interactive and grasping, and it actually had me put into place, my actual thoughts of what I was going to do and apply it and look at it and kind of fine tune the plan that I was trying to follow. And I just thought it was so important to have these concepts because I plan on going into either a leadership master's or organizational psychology, and those concepts of basically being able to help others find a calling, to be able to help them find purpose in work that doesn't seem meaningful, that is just such a significant area of interest for me that I look forward to studying further as I go on into my master's degree. Further speaking on how this class impacted my leadership philosophy is I really began to understand how leadership is flexible and it is ever evolving, just like your calling changes, your purpose changes, your job changes. And so this course helped me to kind of like come to the conclusion that it's okay to have your plans change. It's okay to be uncertain, and it's okay to explore and experience and be curious about what's out there, and being able to have different areas of your life that might have different callings to just help you fulfill the needs that you have. The second leadership course I took was actually PRLD 311, and this is the Leadership Values and Virtues course. And this is where I really got to explore and dive into my most important values and virtues at the time. And I also got to learn how to take those and really decide if they were important to me and kind of reshape them. And the major assignment that impacted my leadership philosophy was the observed values assignment. And this is where I was able to go and participate in a Buddhist meditation chanting session in Riverside. And I really had my values of curiosity and challenged. And it kind of helped me realize that all the experiences and everything that I was going through in this course, it really challenged how I used my values and virtues and how I saw them. And these values and virtues started to become less egotistical and less centered around just like me. And so with my leadership philosophy, it made it okay for me to step out of my boundaries, to feel uncomfortable, and to also just, take something that I thought was important to me and reshape it in a way that was still important to me, but made me a better person as a result. PRLD 322 is the Leadership Strengths and Skills class. And to me, this was one of the most important courses that I personally took. And this is the course that really helped me define and identify my personal leadership style, because I had my physical strengths now attached to who I was. And so I was able to take the Gallup report and receive my top 5 strengths. And these are strengths that I am constantly coming back to, referring back to, using as the psychology club president at the Marietta campus, and I'm constantly applying it to my work and the other leadership courses that I took, and even my psychology assignments. This course helped impact my leadership philosophy because it helped me understand that leaders can't possibly have all the strengths out there. And I used to believe that a leader must encompass, all the magical qualities of, that old form of thinking of the charismatic leadership or perfect leadership. And so I was able to identify my 5 strengths of being a relator, harmony, input, intellect, an achiever, and I have been able to use them in order to provide my available abilities of effective leadership. The next course I want to discuss is PRLD 333, and this is the Leadership and Influence and Impact course. And to me, this was the most meaningful course. This kind of just helped me touch leadership on a very personal and deeper level based on the content I was given of like the books about The Little Way of Ruthie Lemming, which was beyond my favorite book ever. And then also Letters to a Birmingham Jail. And basically this just helped me to understand why being an influencer and making an impact and being a change agent is so necessary in every kind of community, culture, organization, you name it. And to me, this is just, the course that really helped me to understand my leadership on a more spiritual and, I guess, personal level. And so the assignment that helped me to kind of put that into my philosophy was my review paper on The Little Way of Ruthie Lemming. And this actually helped me to just, really dig deeper into her story. Even though you got so much content, it's so much rich detail from this story of Ruthie, you also see the leadership being put into it, the way she cared for her students and her family and her community as a whole, on the way she never got angry with God despite her trials and tribulations that she was facing. The impact this course had on my leadership philosophy was just able to basically confirm my style of relationship-oriented leadership and how it's so important when being a change agent and an influencer and making an impact, getting on that personal, that deeper level with people who need that relationship in their lives. And this course just kind of confirmed for me that one person really can be the change the world needs. And I never used to believe in that concept that one person can change the world, but just the books I read during this course with The Little Way of Ruthie Lemming and then the Letters to a Birmingham Jail, you can see how much one person can impact so many people on so many different levels. And it makes me excited for change, and it makes me definitely more confident in making change, knowing what it can do for others and for myself personally. PRLD 401 is the Leadership Studies Capstone, and it has been a very enlightening, engaging, and very personalized course for me in helping me to understand more about just who I am, but also being able to take concepts that don't necessarily apply to leadership specifically, but have helped me to understand how I can apply concepts such as being an introvert, vulnerability, and having a growth mindset in different areas of my life and using them to impact others' lives as well. For my personal leadership philosophy, this course has just kind of wrapped everything up, but I know I'm not done yet. So that's why I'm considering going into a leadership master's or psych to just continue to develop my skills in leadership. But this course specifically helps me to just apply everything that I've learned and more from what I've gotten in this course into my life and into my work. And one of the major assignments I loved all the assignments because I loved all the books that we read actually. But one that actually kind of touched with me the most was probably the mindset book by Carol Dweck. And I think it's just because one of my goals since I started the leadership minor is that I really want to change my way of thinking. I want to change my perspective. I want to become more positive, because I used to always, I would be the first person to point out the negativity. I'd be the first person to point out what was wrong with something or someone, and I would dwell on that. And I was really starting to notice that negativity impact my life. And so just reading Carol's work on having that growth mindset and identifying those triggers and using those triggers to actually help you develop a growth mindset even more, just kind of just gave me this feedback that I needed to hear, that basically that piece that I was missing. I had started the process of changing my mindset, and I wasn't really aware that there was information on this or research and whatnot. But this book just kind of gave me, the cherry on top that I needed to kind of, okay, I know where to go next, and I know how to continue to develop myself. And overall, this course has just kind of, it's taught me how to touch on my emotions, but how to use them, how to understand the behaviors, and just the integration of the psychology with the leadership has been very just informational and very grasping. And since I'm going to be taking a semester off, I've got a list of books that you, professor, have given me, and some articles and stuff that I really want to dig deeper into. And I look forward to getting more out of it, because I definitely don't plan on stopping my studies with leadership, and I don't plan on ever giving it up or growing out of it. And so this leadership minor has impacted me in ways that I just never thought possible, and I honestly wasn't expecting. And I'm excited to see where I can take my leadership and how I can apply it, and hopefully, become the kind of mentor that people can, go to and actually have themselves become more developed or grow more, because I've become an exceptional leader to the point where, I have something more to offer than just my own leadership. So kind of going on to what I have planned for my future is I will be taking a semester off to just kind of recoup and get myself ready for what I'm going to be jumping into with my master's program in the fall. I am going to be going on a study away program in the summer for about 2.5 weeks to Estonia with my presiding faculty member of the psychology club. And then, as I've mentioned a couple times, I am looking into a master's program. I'm still kind of deciding where I officially want to go, but I'm definitely looking at organizational psychology or just the leadership masters that Azusa offers. And then in 5 years, I kind of just plan on being able to have my own family. I really want to work for an organization that I can use to apply my leadership skills, where I can actively be a leader and be helping others, mentoring others, and really making that change where I feel that I can make the most out of it. And I definitely plan on pursuing higher forms of leadership and hoping to really develop as I live my life. There's never a shortage of knowledge, and I always plan to continue on learning. And honestly, one day I hope to pursue my doctorate in some field. I haven't decided on that yet, but it's definitely in the works.